is that these 300 able-bodied rapists must come to the conclusion and realization that unless they stop this act, what they are doing, that this lady will die. So they must come to that conclusion that what they are doing is bad, and unless they stop, she will die. That is not all. Having taken that decision, they must take necessary steps to stop the particular rapist at that material time, to stop the act of rape. Then third issue is that they must quickly, upon stopping the person raping at that material time to stop, carry this lady called Nigeria to a doctor for medical rehabilitation. And upon rehabilitating that lady called Nigeria, they must now take a final decision that never again will we allow the act of rape of this lady continue. But your answer is as good as mine. The first step has not been taken. The people have not even decided and agreed that this thing they are doing is bad, and unless they stop, the lady will die. So how will you save Nigeria? The truth is that Nigeria is dead. We are only pretending about it. Good enough, Tinubu before now was one of the strong advocates of restructuring. But what does restructuring mean? It simply means reduction of the powers at the center. If you don't reduce the powers at the center and send it a little bit to the regions for them to manage, you're wasting time with restructuring. This attempt at amending or altering the Constitution is the sixth attempt. When we were in the House of Reps, we didn't have the privilege of doing one. I was in 2.3 to 2.7 set. But ever since, we have had 5 attempts. And it will become a 4-yearly ritual unless we do something dramatic with this one. There is this impression that is being created as if there are states that are not rich. Every state in Nigeria is rich. Mention the state and I'll tell you how rich they are. There is this assumption that we must all depend on oil. So many states don't need the oil from the Niger Delta. There are states that don't have oil, but they have so much gas. And they are not even tapping into their gas. Several others have different minerals in their area. It is high time we let every state know that they are rich. Even there are people who are more brilliant than the others. They don't even need any mineral. They will still survive. So every state in Nigeria is rich. I will share a little experience I had with Fashola when he was governor. We went to him, we had a meeting. He told us how he had prepared a paper forwarding to Yaradua on the responsibilities that have been put on the exclusive legislative list of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And he said, Mr. President, you can't do this all. Cut out most of this and return them back to the regions. For example, the federal government is still involved in the ownership of secondary school. What is the business of federal government owning a federal government college? If not to have selected schools that they will fund, which they will put for selected individuals in Nigeria. Everything about ownership of secondary schools should revert to the regions. Federal government has no business in it. So the big question we must ask ourselves is, will Tinubu be prepared to allow for a reduction of his power at the center and allow for a good amount of it to go to the federating units? That is one. If he doesn't, he will leave power and he will start crying like all the other people who have left power and are crying today. It doesn't matter how much money you steal. When you leave office, that your money will reduce to nothing. You'll find out that you're struggling. Many of the people who left as governors can't even give you 50, can't even find 50 million for themselves. So let us take advantage of this situation once for all and begin to move the country forward. Because presently this National Assembly has already started restructuring without knowing that what they are doing is restructuring. They have passed Southeast Development Commission, Southwest Development Commission, North Central Development Commission, Northeast Development Commission. That is restructuring in a very cosmetic way. How can you be creating commission for all the regions when you are pretending to be running a government at the center, you can't run it from the center. So let us take it that the Senate should be the legislature we have for Abuja. House of Reps go to the zones. I don't subscribe to parliamentary system because there's nothing sacrosanct about it. Some people can even choose how to whittle down their own legislature and how to brand it. But Senate should be the only thing we need in Abuja here. And then we move House of Reps, they can go to the region. Because the fact that you are today sitting and you are actually looking at the issue of development commissions is an admission that we have failed as a nation in tackling the problems of each of these regional blocks. Because I asked somebody, there is no problem with the Electoral Act as presently drafted. What we should do, leave the Electoral Act as it is. Let us stop pretending that INEC is independent. It is not independent. Let every political party nominate their members to INEC and let them go and implement the law as it is, 100%. PDP, put your own. We don't trust Tinubu to nominate the INEC representatives from each state. He will bring his own people. PDP, put your own. APGA, put your own. APC, put your own. Immediately you do it, that will be the end of election rigging. Because I tell each person that there are simple procedures for us to move Nigeria forward. Any system that you are building that has no institutional mechanism is a waste of time. Look at the introduction of BVN. What BVN has done to reduce corruption in Nigeria, 3 million EFCC cannot do it. And today you cannot open a bank account, even if you are president of Nigeria, without having a BVN. Today you cannot have an international passport unless you have NIN. Today you cannot have a phone number unless you have an NIN. That is what I call institutional mechanisms. Once it is put in existence, it's binding on everybody. I was a founding member of APC before I left. And when I thought we were serious about moving the country forward, I went to make a presentation on how we can reduce corruption by at least 90%. I said the biggest means through which most people are hiding the money they have stolen is through buying of property. Therefore, we should introduce, in addition to BVN, what I now call PVN, Property Verification Number. For every single property anybody has in Nigeria, match it with your phone number, match it with your NIN number, match it with your BVN number. They will leave the properties and run away. If you are a permanent secretary with ages and you have an estate, and your salary is 500,000 naira a month, come and explain to us how you own it. If you like, transfer the property in the name of your son who is 19 years old. We will invite him, say, young man, you are 19 years old. You own this property that is worth 2 billion. Where do you work? How did you make the money? You say he doesn't know about it. Maybe it's his father. Okay, don't worry. We won't quarrel with your father. We'll collect it and put. Over 7 trillion naira was abandoned in banks because of BVN. That is how so many property will be abandoned across Nigeria if you introduce PVN. When I finished saying this, everybody who was listening to me in the villa was sleeping. Nobody was interested. And that was under Buhari. And they asked me to go, that they will invite me again. The whole atmosphere was very cold. And I left, and that was the end of it till today. And that was when I knew we had no hope. So in conclusion, what we are saying is there are simple mechanisms. Let's stop making it seem as if it's rocket science to move Nigeria forward. There is no rocket science to move Nigeria forward. We have ideas how you have to stem corruption. We have ideas how you can make the electoral process free and fair. What you have today in the name of elections is brigandage. And the National Assembly has shown that we have started the process of restructuring through the development commissions of each of the zones. Let us now tell ourselves the truth. Tinubu must be willing to be the person who will be president of Nigeria when this process started. Since he was part of the process that has been clamoring for it, he must be willing to yield power so that this excess power at the center, where everybody is going to loot Nigeria, will stop and we'll start the process of making progress. Thank you very much.